Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this Friday afternoon in the Locher Room. I'm Alan Locher. Renée Greenstein, the renowned global fashion designer, is here today to discuss her new book, Women with Control, 12 Secrets of My Success That Every Woman Should Follow. In her book, Renée chronicles her rise through the fashion industry, smashing glass ceilings as a woman of color when few women were in the fashion industry. While a college freshman, her interest in fashion drew her out of academia to the garment center and New York's fashion industry. In Women with Control, she takes the reader on a journey into her world as a global fashion designer and founder of Women with Control and Attitudes by Renée, both brands, two of the top-selling fashion lines featured on QVC USA, UK, and Japan. Both collections are a reflection of the designer's flair, genuine playfulness, and compelling life experiences. Renée shares her journey with you while keeping it real. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Locher Room, Renée Greenstein. Renée, I should have asked you backstage. Is it Greenstein? And I apologize.
Greenstein. Did well,
okay.
Yes.
Oh, good. Such a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you also.
You look fabulous, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But take me back to your childhood. What were you like as a child?
Rather quiet. I was brought up very strict, and
In what way?
my grandmother was very religious. Very strict. So it was brought. I mean, I wore anklets and undershirts through middle school. So it's brought up very traditional. I'll put it to you that way. So I didn't break out until I think I was 30.
Okay. Late in life, they say.
Yes.
And you grew up Jewish, correct?
Yes.
Me too.
Very traditional. And I'm a great cook. I think that's how I got to my husband through the belly, And my grandkids
That's not a bad way to get to someone.
Right. I love cooking, so it's good.
What's your favorite thing to make?
Well, during the Jewish holidays, I make my own gefilte fish and my own matzo ball soup. Matter of fact, my little grandson Levi is always like, "Am I going to get the biggest matzah?" So matzo balls. So yeah, I love and beef bourguignon. And
one of those I would definitely love the matzo ball soup. I could never. My parents ate gefilte fish. I could never do it. But I'm not a big seafood I'm not a big seafood person to begin with.
Okay, so then fine.
Yeah.
And my matzo balls are light and airy, so they're great. And I make it in like a great chicken broth with a little rice and what have you. So I do it I call it the soul food, matzo ball soup.
I mean, that'll cure, matzo ball soup will cure anything.
That's true. Right? Definitely.
It really does. So can you talk, I grew up gay and Jewish, and, at times that was difficult. I come from two parents who were Holocaust survivors.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I would not be here if it wasn't for some brave non-Jewish people,
right.
Catholics who saved their lives. What was it like growing up? Being Jewish and Black?
Well, to be honest with you, it was more, if you asked me, who am I would say I'm a Jewish lady, a Jewish girl. I really didn't look at the way we were brought up. It wasn't more of the color as much as the tradition of who you were as far as that. I mean, I lit candles Friday night, made the, chicken, the whole thing. So I was very traditional and at home and everything. As far as being Black, I mean, it was, honestly, I was brought up in a world that was of because of so varied background, German, Ethiopian, Scottish, American, Indian. So, I remember when Obama became president and he said he was a mutt. I said, no, honey, I'm the original mutt. The cultural mutt and everything, which I think is great. My son, when he went to school, it was so funny because they had a class picture and he would come home and he'd say, to his father, who was white, he'd say, "Pick me out." And we would sit there and laugh because, we didn't look at the color. We looked at who we were as a culture, as a tradition and everything else. And then realizing about the color came later on in life, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Right. I wish I wish that wasn't even a question that I had to,
Right.
Sadly.
But it is today's world. It is what it is.
It is today's world. Yeah.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
I mean, like I said, gay and Jewish, I was seen as other, both,
Right.
on
Okay.
both counts,
Right.
I didn't grow up in a large Jewish area,
Right.
and, for me, it wasn't something, it took me a long time to be, not that I wasn't proud. I just wouldn't readily
Right.
say it.
Right.
It was just a different, and I think that could also be, my parents' experience of being Holocaust survivors. And so
Right.
much of that is about being hidden that
Yes.
I think I hid myself. But
Right.
it's, I'm glad that you didn't, that you saw yourself as Jewish, that
Right.
that's,
And,
and raised that
educate.
way.
Yes, my father would always say, they can't take your education away, to basically be able to grow up. And I dropped out of college, so I don't have a college degree, but, there are a lot of great people out in the world that don't have a college degree. I used to, meet people and they have their, graduated from college and doctorates and everything. I have a college of life. And I think that's more
Yeah.
important because I think,
Correct. Life
right,
experience is, yes, I mean, an education can help, but so can life experiences.
right,
Being
right.
out into the world, if you are taking in what you see, which I can, you do every day of your life, and
Oh, I watched everything. My father would say, the day you think you're smart is the day you became stupid.
oh, I
Because we
love
learn
that.
every day. Yeah, because it's true. I mean, you learn every day of your life. And the beauty of waking up in the morning and, going out there and seeing what you can find, even when we were in lockdown, you still could reach out and find and understand things. That's when I finished my book, was during, quarantine. Because I said, I got to get this sucker done and get it out.
Yeah, that's a good time. But
Right.
you're so right. I mean, we do, and with the help of the device we're using today to talk, you can
Right.
learn anything with the computer.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So it's fascinating. You attended a all white college. What was that experience like for you?
An all white, all girl Catholic college.
I forgot it was Catholic. Sorry, and I knew that, and I think I wrote
Yes.
that down. Yes, I mean that's.
It was interesting. Basically it was, when you're brought up very traditional, you don't go to a, a private, a yeshiva or something like that. So, coming to the coming to the States and doing what have you, where do you go? You go to a Catholic, you go to a private school, college. So it happened to be, yes, all white, all girl Catholic college. And, it was very interesting, and I learned to grow up rather quickly and understand that there can be some catty, vicious bees out there, bitches, okay?
You can say it, and I know it. Yeah, for sure.
And it helped me. I think and that's with them in the book, anything, challenge or anything, what have you, if you can get through that, and I don't want to offend anyone, but girls, honey, know how to do it, because you know what? There's girl power and there's girl power. And that's why I say you can do anything you want to do. So going to this college and finding out that people were different and looked at me differently, I learned to grab my inner self and learn how to do things.
It's interesting because I've learned this through this show, I think, through a few people I've spoken to about Jewish individuals choosing a Catholic high school or, a different school because of the education part. I don't think I really realized that Jewish folks could go to a Catholic school. I don't know why.
We're allowed in.
Yeah. And did you choose it for the education or for the what was
it was a family choice. I had no choice about it. It was basically,
You had no
okay, where
choice.
can we take her? Where could she go to have an education? And matter of fact, when I went there, I'll never forget, it was they wanted to know when I asked where the nearest shul was, they looked at me like I was, had three heads. And I think they thought I was Muslim or something. And I said, no, I'm Jewish, and I decided to major in theology because my father wasn't Jewish. My woman who gave birth to me, my mother was. And that's how from
Yeah.
tradition. And I wanted to see, and he said, see what religion makes you comfortable, what have you. And it was interesting going to a Catholic college and, diving into religion and understanding the Old Testament and the New Testament. And then some people, I guess, they'll do certain researches and everything. So it was good. It was all good.
That's really educational. I kind of, I sadly don't know enough about my own religion. And, I do thrive. I know there's opportunity, like I said, using the computer to learn more, but I love that, you went out to do that, and
yeah, I mean, it's, I have girlfriends now who study the Kabbalah and the whole thing, but I was very traditional and went to shul. My son was bar mitzvahed, the whole thing. So, yeah, I mean, I was very close friends with my cantor, who, matter of fact, married my now husband, Justin, and I. And, of course, when you come to the States and, people look at you and the mannerisms and everything. And even when I started going on QVC, women were calling and go, are you Jewish?
by your mannerisms?
Yes.
They called you out from the start.
Oh yeah, and it was very interesting. So
that's fabulous. When did the interest in fashion begin?
Oh my goodness, it began when I was a child. I mean, I was very young and had an aunt who gave me my first Epi bag, my Louis Vuitton bag, at a very young age, and would send me magazines, the Vogues, and I mean, I was in love with Chanel and Scapriani, the whole thing, and I loved fashion. And I would look at the commercials with the cigarettes and the hair, and then Marlene Dietrich, and I was just like, Sonia Henney was like my idol, and then growing up and seeing how she became very strong and basically her own manager and everything. So I always had this female strength and the fashion, and I loved clothing, and I would just dress up. I'd be one of those little girls with the heels walking around and everything.
Everywhere?
No, in the house.
But were you always dressed?
Oh yeah, yes. Matter of fact, in the book, I in one of the chapters, I talk about how my father, who was a chef, and I picked up from him, went to Cordon Bleu for a little bit. He tried to teach me how to make a souffle. Didn't work. It kept on falling. So I made.
No wonder where you get the cooking from now. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad.
But, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I absolutely.
What was the favorite thing he used to make?
He made a deep dish blackberry pie. And in the book, I talk about how, because I would always be in frilly clothes with the little lace, eyelet lace, little anklets, the little patent leather shoes, the little
While
hat.
you were helping him bake?
He would, no, but I would walk around and say, he made this. And I went and I sat down. I'll never forget this. And I'm eating it and I'm loving it. And it's so fun because it's so gross. And then I got a big blob on my dress. I was devastated. I think I was like, I was young. I was like 8, 9, whatever. And I was like, this is about the clothes. I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, and my son would die of me telling the story. When he was very, very young, we would go to his grandparents who were upstate. They were in Connecticut in a big apple orchard and the whole thing, whatever. And they tell the story how he would be helping me pick the apples, but he'd be picking the apples by the stem because I was so neat, and rubbing it off on him. And then when his father would come home, he would be in the sandbox, and I'd take him and change him and put a new outfit on. And then I think, when he was in school, he would wait to go around the corner because I would make him like a little, with the little corduroy jacket and the whole thing. He'd run and put his jeans on, So yeah, I was one of these crazy lunatics that was all about the clothes.
Well, it definitely, panned out. So you left college. You left this, university and headed to the Big Apple, which,
Ay.
leaving college at a young age, and going to New York City is a huge step. What was, did you have a plan upon your arrival?
Yeah, to take over. What do you mean, did I have a plan? Come on, seriously.
I mean, I think,
My
wasn't
father
that
said-
Madonna's comment, to rule the world?
Right, exactly. My father said that when I came out, I said, okay, I'm here. What next? Don't sleep, whatever. No, seriously, it was like, and then you wake up in reality and you realize you're a little different and people look at you differently, and, you have to like readjust life again and go like, okay, now what? I really was not brought up to think of color. Okay. So when you get into a big city and people are like, I'll never forget, some woman turned to me and she said, "You're such an attractive lady. And you have she said, do you have Caucasian in your family?" And excuse me, because my features were very defined, until later on, I realized why she was saying that, which, whatever.
When you arrived, what was the, do you remember, like, what was the first thing you did in New York?
I had known someone that basically took me under her wing and was trying to see, now that I wasn't going to have a degree in college or anything, to go out and work, and what could I do? And I went for a job. Someone had gotten me a job at Radley Furs, which was a furrier on 7th Avenue. And I'm all legs. So even though I'm not 5'11", I can give a good appearance of height. Mm-hmm. And I also learned the tricks of wearing a hat and wearing, heels and the whole thing. So I walked in and
I bet you knew that at 5.
But I walked in and realized, and then there was this woman, her name was Renee, also French, very, into the whole thing. And she basically took me under her wing and showed me how to walk and move and whatever. I became a showroom model. So what did I know? But it was a job. It was great.
And when you told the family that you were leaving school, what was their reaction?
Let's not go there. I mean, it basically, when I started, and I was a fit model, okay, the modeling in showrooms and everything. And it was like, you're taking your clothes off for a living.
Oh.
It was not, you're not getting a degree. There's not going to be a shingle doctor, lawyer, what have you. It wasn't taken too well. So,
okay.
But my dad was always very supportive. My father was always, venture and do what you want to do, honey. And that's what I did.
Yeah, it seems like he gave you some great life advice.
He was the best. He was my mother and my father, my biggest support. So I loved him dearly. Yes.
So you went from the modeling to learning manufacturing. What was that transition like, as it's a total switch of ideals, and then working in the garment industry as a woman? Did you find any diversity being a woman of color in what was the
Honey, diversity was being a woman, period. Okay, let's get real about it. Okay, but so here I am, and I'm modeling and fitting, and Raymond Kumanali was one of the designers. I'll never forget. I'm surprised I remember his name, and it was learning that you try these clothes on. You'd bend down. You'd be able to tell them if you could reach. I always say on air, it wasn't that I thought I was fit. It was a fit model, learning, basically telling a pattern maker in production how the garment fit you, what was wrong, the sleeves, et cetera, et cetera. I had very long arms. I had hanger shoulders. So, have to know who you are so you can equate to what the average fit model would be. I was very narrow here, so they'd have to fill in it and everything. But then you would get, some of the clothing, and I was working, on 7th Avenue, and I was working here, there, and what have you. And I'd bring the sample, bring the production home, and something was missing. It didn't fit. I'm a real woman. I'm a real person, and they were making clothes off of a pattern, assembly line. So that's when I said, you know what? And I would start talking to production managers and everything and say, what is this? I started learning certain details. What happened with the pattern? Why is the leg wonky? Why is it, the inseam of this pant is really cutting into where it shouldn't, in certain things. And then I loved fabrics, from this whole thing of, traveling to Europe and seeing fine fabrics and going down and understanding and everything. And that's where it came into basically loving clothing and learning how to do things. And at one point, someone had said to me, you should make your own creations. I went,
Were you traveling to Europe by yourself at that, before you became a designer, looking at fabrics and things like that?
With friends or family or what have you, but I always,
But you used your time when you were overseas to do that, even before you were Renée Greenstein.
Right. I mean, it's my little Aya, who's 14 now. We took her shopping. And she told her father she's a mini Nene. She calls me Nene. But we took her into, I think it was the Gap or whatever store, and she must have been like 3 years old. It's the first time taking her shopping. And she had a fit. She was like, oh, and she would take the clothes, and we tell the story. My husband tells the story best. And here she is. I'm standing here. He's standing there. She would do a 360 and give him the clothes. So everybody said, oh, she knows who's going to buy it.
Wow.
She just loved it.
Well, she's, somebody taught her that, somebody
she
definitely
would walk around in my heels when she would come over to the house. She was able to walk in the stilettos and everything and pose and what have you. She still does.
I love that. You mentioned a few designers earlier, but do you remember, like, before you fully got started, were there designers that you were admiring and looked at and said, I love what they're doing, or you didn't love what they're doing and you wanted to do it better?
No, I love Chanel to this day. Okay. Scaprielli, I did love too. Donna Karan was probably the one that I really just followed, the 6 easy pieces. I remember walking into Bergdorf's and, or Bloomingdale's, where I've been seeing her clothes, and it was the bodysuit, it was the t-shirt, it was the pant, it was the jacket, the whole thing. And that's where my mantra was. I said, easy pieces. I've never checked luggage in my life. And it basically came out to be, I'm this traveler and I want a collection of clothes. And excuse me, iron? No way.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't do that.
No. I basically say when I go on air, and I tell women, I said, the only high maintenance should be you, not your clothes. Your clothes should be able to pop it in the wash machine, pop it in the dryer, pop it on your body. And in my book, there's a whole philosophy of how you dress and what makes you feel and look good.
I mean, right there, I see success, because yes, there are women who love to do the, iron and stuff like that, but there are many more women who want to be ready and on the go and not
definitely
not have to worry about that. Especially, I bet it's even more so in the, maybe even since 9/11 and traveling became more difficult, that people, you had to take less, people didn't want to check luggage,
I think women are so insecure with, they want to, I look at these women. I would go back and forth to California because I was working for a California company, and I'd meet the crew at the airport, and they would have suitcases. We're going for a week or 2 weeks, but we're going to dinner here, we're going to this. And I'd have my little, my duffel bag, my wasn't a duffel bag, whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd look at me and go, and
where's
then
the
they
rest?
would get on the plane, and then I'd have to wait for them at the airport as they're waiting for their luggage to come off. And I go I'll meet you at the hotel, and I would get a cab and go. So it was always, it's got to be easy, packable, carefree. I live and Donna Karan, because she did all the jersey and everything. That's where my Como jersey came from, and then you had multiples and a couple of other, clothing designs and what have you. And that's where it would be. And then I had Halston, who I loved. And Tom Ford is like, stop. Okay, stop.
Okay. Well, one of your fans, Debbie, just said, "I love your clothing line. I have several pieces."
Oh, fabulous!
So, yeah, she
Great.
just comment. She just commented. You have been with QVC for 20 plus years, and were one of the first Jewish women of color to partner with them. How did that relationship begin? What do you remember about that?
Basically, I went to work for a company, run a division for them, and there was a young lady that was working there with all these male salesmen, and I came in, and I think a lot of people had told her, because I was a partner in a other company and what have you, that, oh, the big it's coming on her broom and be careful,
Oh.
And we became the best. Matter of fact, she's my business partner today, Randy, because it was like, she was trying to get stuff done. These guys didn't have a clue, what have you. And she was, had gotten something into QVC. And she said, well, I said, no, we're going there. And I knew someone that worked at QVC, and that's how the whole thing started. And I started doing, private label for them. I was working for a manufacturer, and then it went on and on and on. And then, they were looking for, we brought them a certain fabric, which was called Slinky. And we did a little dress, easy little dress, black, short little dress. I call it the box lunch dress. We won't talk about that because it was very short. It would be a tunic today.
Okay, I get it.
And that QVC said, well, they couldn't use the word Slinky anymore, so I came up with the name City Knits. They trademarked it, and the rest was history. And it was all about that collection of that traveling woman, who could just roll things up and pop them in her suitcase. Randy, my business partner, can't fold worth crap. So it was like, let's roll it up. Let's roll it up.
Yeah, just throw it in.
And
what was it a line that you first went on air with, or was it that dress that you just described?
No, that dress was City Knits, and City Knits was theirs. But then I noticed Mother Nature and gravity was trying to take a little, hint on my body. And I said, yeah, no. So, and I won't wear a shaper. Okay. I mean, Sarah Blakely, I love, and listen, she's made it. She's a billionaire. But I just can't do that, and the Kardashians, whatever. I want to be caressed, not compressed. I want to be comfortable. That's what all my clothing is about. So came up with this fabric that had 14% spandex, that was not shiny, because I am not one of these, Boca women, or, the girls that run around in there, the activewear with shiny butts, and that's not me. So I wanted a matte finish fabric that I could wear from day to dusk. Okay, it's that multitasking wardrobe, and came up with this pant that basically would keep you together. No more wiggle, no more jiggle. Went on air. I think it was 2009. I had 2 pair of pants, and one, they called it a legging at that time, but it was really a trouser. And it was a boot cut. And I got off air, and Randy and my husband Justin said, do you realize you did blank amount a minute? And I said, you guys don't know how to read the charts. There's no way I did that. And I had.
You thought they were lying.
Yeah, I said,
or blind.
Right, exactly. And one thing led to another. I mean, it was on with City Knits, left that, and then a certain person that was at Q, Doug Howe, who I adore, he's now at Kohl's, called me and said, you're back. The pant just blew out, and that started the beginning of Women with Control. And I trademarked it, and the whole 9 yards.
Comfortable is the way to go. Well, Patricia just said, I have at least 15 pairs of Renee's pants in different styles and colors.
Well, we all like our butt lifted, okay?
That's a lot of pairs of pants, I can tell you that. Right. I don't know that I have that many pairs of pants. I mean, talk about what that feels like and how proud you must be, for the incredible success and partnership with them. I mean, that's a long time to
Yes.
be anywhere, right?
I mean, I adore QVC. I mean, a lot of people come to me and say, well, where can I buy them elsewhere? And I said, if my pants were in a store, they'd be over $100, what have you, or over $80. But the reality is, I love QVC for their inclusivity of sizing. They did not charge you. You walk into a store, the retailer stores of the world, and they would charge you one price for a regular size and one price for plus size. And why should you pay more because you've got curves and you look good? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did my collection, and I loved QVC because it was one price from extra, extra small to 3X, or from a 2 to 24, 28, or what have you. And then everyone would say, well, what is that top you're wearing? Or what is that jacket you're wearing? And I'd say, that's mine. And they said, well, wait a minute, we want everything. And that's where Attitudes by Renee came from, which my husband named, because there was a conference and a guy said, oh, they were looking at, on-air guests. And he said, she's got attitude. My husband says, Attitudes by Renee. Trademarked it.
So smart. Well, it's funny because I was telling you backstage, Terry Khan, my friend who was on As the World Turns and is a QVC host, when I was interviewing her husband and I asked her husband, I said, so does she bring everything home from QVC? Because she, being there, I'm sure as a woman, and you see these things, and he was like, oh, he's like, don't get me started. It's very funny because, sorry, my shirt's opening. I just realized good thing the camera was higher, but but congrats. I mean, that success is
thank you,
incredible. And you just said that Women with Control, the name for that came from.
Well, Attitudes by Renee came from my husband saying, like someone at QVC, when they were doing this seminar, said, that woman's got attitude. And he was talking about me, seeing me on air. And my husband said, that's it, fine, trademarked it. Women with Control was that I wanted to have my body be in control, not me, because no one can control me. My body.
Not even your husband.
No. Or my executive assistant, Sarah, God bless her. She just tries it and she'll go, 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes. I go, okay, fine. Crazy. But no, but I wanted clothes that were comfortable. Our bodies change. Things go on. Then I came up and got tummy control, which I trademarked and registered. And then I came up with pockets for my jeans, which are patented. So it's, I trademarked No More Wiggle, No More Jiggle. The saying, style is not about size, it's about attitude. And it's all about women. And we have our new mascot, which is a woman with 6 arms, because we all multitask. And that's going on my, what I call the AIM collection, Attitudes in Motion, which is all, yoga stuff and what have you.
Your arms are you're doing
everywhere.
You're doing a million things.
Right.
As a mother, as a businesswoman.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but what, you have to be able to juggle everything. There are women that are shaking the carriage, on the phone, at the computer, the kids, you see it, now that we're Zooming and everything, you see the kids crawling up in the news.
Climbing on the women.
Climbing everything, right, what have you. But it's, you have to be able to, multitask. And listen, women, and I'm saying it to every woman out there, you can accomplish anything you want if you put your mind to it. Because you know what? I once said to, the boy club, because when I was in this, working, and, you're a girl, they'll say to you, for a broad, what am I broad? What, or that you're a bitch or something. But a guy, you pat him on the back for being assertive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can get out there and do anything you put your mind to it. And so I said to this one owner of a company once when he was interviewing me, I can't go into it because it's a little too colorful language of how I felt. But I said to him, I tell you what, when you spread your legs and give birth to a baby, come talk to me. Then we'll talk about who's who. Because it's true.
I'm not going to argue with you there. Debbie said, "Sassy women make history," and they certainly do. You certainly have. I mean, talk about your customers I mean, I love that you've coined the name Wardrobe Warriors. Where did that name come
Yes.
from?
Because we are warriors, it's the wardrobe warriors were, and I would show packing the luggage, and putting it in a suitcase so you could travel and not worry about checking luggage. And we are warriors. And it's probably the most amazing collection of women that are supportive of each other. You'll see certain groups and what have you, they can be tacky and nasty, but these women support each other. We're there for each other. During the pandemic, we would have like little cocktail meetings on Fridays and what have you. But, I've had, and women are in my book, Debbie Wine, who lost over 100 pounds, and
Oh,
Tay,
wow.
is in a wheelchair and magnificent and what have you. I mean, and all my, and Patrice, who I call basically my ambassador, who has gone through a lot, and she's just moved again, and her daughter had an incident and her husband, what have you. But we're warriors. We go through, life is not a dress rehearsal. Live for today. And my other piece of jewelry is my life is half full, because my father always said the glass is half filled, not half empty. Listen, I lost my first husband in '89, and I was devastated. I had a child. My father was living with me. I didn't have any life insurance. I had no money. It was like, it was crazy. But here I am today, and met an incredible man. I have a fabulous son. I have 2 great grandkids. I'm in business,
I'm
and
sure
I'm
that
kicking butt.
the light of your life, those
Oh my God.
grandkids.
Oh yeah. I mean, they are our life. Definitely. Definitely.
um, so you were just talking about the Wardrobe Warriors. Were you Zooming with them? Is that how you connect sometimes?
Yes, they're on my Facebook, they're on my Instagram. But
Nice.
during the pandemic, we would basically try to get together on Fridays a couple of times to have a glass of wine or tea or whatever you want, and to talk about life, and it's fun to, reach out. The one thing, when this whole pandemic started and we went into lockdown, and I probably was one of the last TSVs in the studio in Westchester, today's special value, big show, when it shut down. It was like, we had heard rumors and what have you, and then you had to stay 6 feet apart and you have to watch it. But then the country shut down. Europe, it was like
The
global. It
world.
was like,
Yeah.
how do you comprehend global? You know what I'm saying? And I would say to women, this is a time to do what you want to do. Read a book, write a book, study a language, learn how to cook, experiment, nurture yourself. Get up in the morning, get out of that bed, because most of the time, you know what, with everything that was going on around us, you'd want to stay under the covers. No, no, no. You get out of bed, wash up if it's just your face, but wash up, take a shower. I would take a shower, put on a little lipstick, throw in something that's, colorful or nice or what have you, and conquer that kitchen or where else you had to go for the day.
Yeah. Well, and you said it, I think, to me backstage. You finished the book during quarantine. What was the driving force? You wrote Women with Control: 12 Secrets of My Success That Every Woman Should Follow, and released it in February. What was the driving force for the book?
For people to understand who I am, because a lot of women would say, well, how did you do that? How did you get there? So it was almost like my instructional calling card, or, to show you how everything is, and the 12 steps to show you how you can be and how you can do. And I said, I've got to get this out there. I want, I'm home and I'm freaking out because I can't travel, because I would usually always be on a plane. My husband and I didn't kill each other. We were Skyping and going on air. And I said, look at what I'm doing each day. I've got to finish this book because I want women to understand the power of what we can do and what we can have, even if it's, experimenting in the kitchen and, learning how to cook, making that first pot of pasta or what have you, drinking the wine, enjoying it, trying to communicate with each other. And I said, I want to get this out there so every woman can see and understand. Because I wanted anyone from my granddaughter, when I started the book, she was 12 years old, to, the great grandbubby, who might be 100 or what have you, to be able to read that book and learn, and understand. And also
put the book cover up.
Right.
There it
And
is.
also understand who I am, because I am, I'm a private woman, believe it or not. I mean, I go on air and everything, what have you, but I opened up about a couple of things that were tough for me to open up about.
Well, we learn from those things too, like life experience. Just you and I having conversation to me is I learn from this,
Right.
and
Me too. Yes.
you learn from these things. When you set out to write it, did you know it would be 12?
No, I had no bloody clue of what the blank I was doing. Okay. It was just that I wanted to get out there. I wanted to express what I had experienced. I wanted to express how you can accomplish something, how I overcame death, having no money, not finishing college, walking into a room and realizing I don't blend in with the woodwork, okay? Going to shul and my girlfriend says to me, "You were late." I go, "How do you know I was late?" She goes, "Renee, you're the only one here." Okay. Oh, right. And it's a learning tool for every woman, no matter what age she is, authenticity or anything. I mean, I've spoken to Mally and what she's gone through. I mean, we've all, Laura Geller, there's so many of us out there that are so strong, but it didn't come overnight. And we've had our challenges and everything. And for someone to look at me, that I might be wearing a Chanel shoe or shoes, I might have, a certain handbag or whatever. Don't judge people. You don't know what they did to get where they are. I would tell people when they come work for me, I said, I'm chief cook and bottle washer. I will pick stuff off the floor. I will empty garbage. I won't iron. I'll empty garbage.
We should put that on the book cover. But that is so, because I grew up at a time I did internships,
right.
Where I stuffed millions of envelopes, before email, where you had to, stuff the envelopes. And I tell people today, I would, I've had a long career. I would still stuff envelopes. I would do whatever that job entailed. It never is above me to do.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a survivor. My father, God rest his soul, when Doug, my deceased husband, passed away, and I was devastated. I was a young girl, woman, and he was
I'm
12
so
years
sorry.
older
I
than
can
me.
only imagine.
It was, and I was away. I was in Arizona when it happened, and then had to have someone get my son, and I don't want to get tearful, and my whole life ended.
You just having to get back from Arizona
It was
state is not,
devastating. So it's a lot to go through, but you learn from it and you get better. And
sadly, I know, those things just make you stronger. They do.
Oh yeah.
It's horrible
don't
that we
judge
have
a person right. You go through things, but you pick yourself up. And I had very little money, and then I come home to my husband and say one day I want to go on my own business. And he looked at me and he said, "Wow." I was working for a firm, making a nice living. And I said, "I want to do this because I want women to know and be able to wear clothes." And the beauty of being at QVC, and I was in Bloomingdale's, I could be here, there, what have you, but I wanted women to be able to afford to look good. And I wanted to help them know the philosophy of when you put that dress on or that pair of pants, or you put on a pretty piece of jewelry and you stand tall with that attitude, how much it helps, and I got involved in certain organizations like WIN, which is Women in Need. I'm totally, women who have thought that they weren't good enough, that they allow a man to abuse them. Mm-hmm. And that they shouldn't have that, and to be able to get out there and maybe afford that pair of trousers or pants or whatever, so they can go out and maybe get a job and look good and feel good.
That's so helpful to people. But I'm sure this little quote resonates with millions of women. I am sure, and men, I'm sure, but you're catering to a real big market there, and just comfort. I mean, clothes should not be, I mean, you know, when we all gain a little weight, I hate when clothes is, you know, it's too tight or it's uncomfortable.
Well, in my clothes, you don't have to worry about that because you can eat you could eat the buffet but not show it. You know, have that.
That's another good quote right there.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you know, eat the chocolate but don't show it. I mean, we want to be. Life is too short, and we have so much stress going on in our lives. Why should we have to stress about how we look and how we have to put an outfit together? I mean, that should be the simple part, that you could be able to go out whenever, you know, I mean, after split second that you can go throw on some clothes and look good. We're Zooming more, we're teaming more. I mean, I can't tell you, I run out of the shower, dry myself off, pop on a little lipstick, pull the hair back and do what I have to do, put on like a jumpsuit or something or whatever and go, so hi, what were we saying?
I mean, you said it too, though. You know, traveling. So
right.
Not traveling. Well, traveling is stressful, but packing to travel can be stressful. But you know,
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. You don't need 10 pair of shoes, ladies. You know, and I'm a shoe queen, but I don't take 10 pair of shoes with me. I mean, you know, and I show. You know, if you go on my website, how to pack clothes and how to roll things. Someone was saying to me, my girlfriend was saying the other day, she says, I learned from Renee, take 3 pair of pants and I just roll them up together. I put my jewelry in the shoes. I put my socks in the shoes. You know, it's, you know, people say to me, well, Renee, you try, but I can go away and go to a black tie affair and look good with check on.
Well, you mentioned your website. Everything is up on Renee's website, both of her lines and the book. You can purchase the book through there as well, but definitely go to Renee's website.
Yes. But the book is on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
But you have a link on there as well.
Yes.
So
exactly.
It is on Amazon, but there is a link there.
Go on my website. Yes.
Who were some of your, and not necessarily in fashion, but who were some of your biggest inspirations? You know, like, because you really are inspirational in the way you empower and encourage women. Were there women like that for you?
Yeah, well, my bubby, my grandmother, and then you want to talk about being in love with? I love Sharon and Diana Ross. It's like, you know, I mean, I would sit there and just, I mean, I would go to a concert just to see how many times they changed. I mean, Diana Ross changed constantly.
Constantly.
I mean, I
saw her not too long ago, and still changing that many times.
Oh my God! No, I love it. I mean, it was, you know, I had the pleasure of meeting her at the Met Ball years ago.
Wow.
I went to one of the Met Balls with Mr. Chavez, CEO of Hermes, and died and went to heaven. I was like, you know. So it was yeah. But I look at them.
Yeah, still going strong.
Yes. I mean, I'm so thrilled that Tina Turner is being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I didn't hear, I know they announced it. Oh,
yes.
Her documentary.
Her documentary. Oh, forget it. And excuse me, Audrey Hepburn. Did you see that documentary?
No, but I need to, because I want to say a friend may have had something to do with it. I'm not sure. Wow. I would like to see that. Tina's was amazing.
No, Tina, listen, you want to talk about a woman of force, a woman, and it took a lot. You want to talk about, again, abused. Okay. So now, and I'm getting chills because I'm for that night and support it, and getting out on her own. And all I want is my name. That's all I want is my name. That's all she needed. Bump the money. I just want my name.
Want her name. And, you know, I worked on the movie. I did marketing for Disney.
You? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
What's Love Got to Do with It? And I met Angela at the time. I didn't meet Tina, but we got
Angela
to see Tina. Killed it. We got to see Tina in concert during that time. But what I didn't realize or remember until the documentary is how old she was when this second success came to her. Wow, I was blown away.
Age is a blanking number, okay?
Yeah.
She got out there, and how they said, well, you're too old and you're too this and what have you, and how she met her husband.
Butt.
She kicked it. And that's also what women, anyone listening, okay, you're never too old. You're never too young. You're never too old. Just have that passion. And the one thing is, don't ever, ever let someone tell you no. Ever. And it's not that easy. I'm not preaching and saying, oh, because believe me, I've had tears many times. I mean, I didn't have a college education. I wasn't 6 feet tall, with a lot of things. I was anorexic and bulimic, which I brought up in the book. So there was a lot of going on here, but I was able to do, lost my husband, had no money. I mean, come on. So when you see me in my Chanel shoes, remember, I earned it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. And I think maybe I've done the show for a year now, but the no thing you just said, my parents, I told you, were Holocaust survivors. My mother didn't have a education past high school. And the one thing she taught me that I always remember is ask. The worst thing they can say is no.
No. That's it.
Yeah. And I really, I think now at my age, I treasure that statement so much more than I did, growing up. But it's so true. Ask.
It is.
No's not going to kill us.
No, it's not. It's not at all. And if you don't ask, then it's the one thing I said when Doug passed away, and I was interviewed by Femme magazine in Europe, was that they said to me, were you able to get out so quickly? Because I'll never forget when I walked into the showroom after sitting shiver and everything, and people didn't know what to say to me or what have you, was that because I had such a full life at a young age, because we did everything. Okay, it wasn't one of those, I wish I could have, should have, what have you. We did. We had the big bar mitzvah. We went traveling. We did. So I think that's the other thing is that because I have an aunt who passed away, and it was, my uncle would say to her, well, when we get to this stage, or when we get, when I retire, whatever, we can go travel and what have you. And Aunt Shirley is the one who taught me the recipe for my matzo ball soup. When she passed away, he remarried, and the other woman got everything. So it will never happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't wait. Okay. Do what you have to do. Do it for yourself. Work a little harder. I don't care. I would scrub floors. It's like when Doug passed away and I sat on my father's lap and I said, now what do I do? I said, and he turned to me and he said, you're a survivor. There are people who exist and there are people that survive, and you're a survivor. Because I said to him, when is it going to be my turn? He said, it's not. You're out there for a reason, and you're going to do. I'll never forget that. I said, what do you mean? It's not, and it is. You make your own life for yourself, and then nobody can take it away.
Your son's just seeing you survive is a reward enough. Did he follow in fashion, or does he do anything in the same?
No. He was in the arts area. He was a line producer. He wanted to be a writer and everything. I mean, he's friends with Jeffrey Wright and Rosie Perez and the whole thing. So he's got that creative force in him. But we went through a lot together. It was tough. I mean, one of the chapters, it shows the New Year's card that we sent out after his father died, because I'll never forget, I didn't know what to do. And I walked into Jamie Ostro, who's done cards for the Kennedys and everything, whether she used to be on Madison Avenue. But we would go there and make these beautiful, because I don't send out Christmas cards, whatever, I'd send out New Year's cards. You know what I'm saying? Because being Jewish. And, Doug died in September, and came the holidays, right around Rosh Hashanah, and then New Year's came, and we went in, and I'll never forget, and they sat down, they go, where's Doug? And I said, Doug died. And you had to see, Alan, they didn't know what to do. Because when someone says they died, someone died, or has they don't know what to do. And I'm sitting there, and they're showing me the most morbid, dumb cards ever. And I turned around and I said, guys, he died. I didn't. Okay. And if you buy the book, you'll see the new beginning card that we sent out.
I mean, death shouldn't be that hard for people. It's so fascinating to me. I mean, sadly, I've lost both my parents. So, and, you know, I've been through it.
have to, right.
You know, but people have a hard time. They don't, you know, and that's why I always, to anybody, you know, a friend today, I saw that his grandmother passed away, and I sent him a text, and he said, you know, you have, anybody watching, reach out, just tell somebody
that's right.
You're sorry.
Definitely.
You're sorry.
Definitely.
You know, sorry for their loss. That's why
Right.
I felt awful during this past year where people couldn't grieve in person, because I do think, you know from, you know,
You need that. You
need that hug, you know, during that
that's
time.
why I tell people, stop the texting. I really got angry during the pandemic that, you know, I would pick up a phone. I would FaceTime.
Yeah.
I told one of my girlfriends the other day, I said, what is this BS about? You can't FaceTime me. Because you don't have any makeup on? Because you're in bed? So who cares? I'm reaching out to say hello to you. Hello. You know what I'm saying? But you never know what someone's going through. That maybe that phone call, that FaceTime, or let's Zoom or what have you, but that phone call, start with that, can make someone feel so good.
How lucky that we,
what is it?
You know, this happened at a time where we could see each other, because the previous pandemic did not have that luxury.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So we were very lucky.
We were very lucky in that respect, especially like people with children and grandchildren and, you know, the families. I mean, yeah. Had you written before? Did you know you could actually put pen to paper?
No. I didn't even know that I would be a good designer. I mean, you know, I didn't professionally. I mean, I went to school for a little bit, whatever, but it's all from inside. You know what I'm saying? And I said, how hard could it be? You know,
it's from your
to
heart.
figure out. It's from your heart. I found someone that was great, who was a ghostwriter. So she helped me out. She quit on me 3 times because it was not the easiest, you know. And she said, but you have to let them. I said, I don't have to let them know blank. She goes, no, we're going to work through this. We're going to work through this. She says, give it to me, explain what have you. And I said, okay. And she said, and the same thing, like you said, when was the first time, you know, you knew that you loved clothing, and when's the first time with this, and how hard was it? And she would have to listen to my truck driver language going back and forth. But it was, it's a book of passion. I wanted to share, and I want people to know this person right here didn't just come out of nowhere. Okay, this was a long journey to get here, and any of us can do that. And I look at my grandchildren, and I know they can be. You can be whoever. I love that little kid that they showed on Instagram. I am beautiful. I am great. But his parent or someone said whatever, and you are, and you should. And I tell women, get up in the morning, look in the mirror. I'm great. I got it. Okay, we got this. I'm great. I'm beautiful. I'm wonderful. I can conquer the world.
Such a great outlook. You are. This has been a delight. Talk about, because I was asking some of your favorite pieces. One of them you're wearing.
Yes, well, this is the Drama Diva necklace. I wonder where that name came from.
And it's like that's what you should get, like Laverne used to have. You should have DD.
Yeah, but that's, you know, I mean, I love jewelry. Justin's father was a jeweler, and who knew that I would marry a man who, you know, so he can't, you know, the first gift, can I just say this, first gift he got me for Mother's Day or something, whether my birthday, was a pasta maker. And my son said, you don't get it, do you? But when it came to jewelry, I said, you know, just stay with the jewelry. And then I've got my hoop earrings on, which are fabulous because I love hoop earrings, and they're light as a feather and everything. So yeah, I love jewelry, ladies. So, and love hats and scarves and everything. So that's going my website too, because it's all there. Beautiful.
And in the 20 plus years, is there an absolute favorite? Like, is it hard?
Design.
I mean, yeah, is it easy to?
My life is half full. I wish I had it here. But
yeah.
That necklace, because that is my life.
Well, and
it's
that's Daddy's lesson.
Right. So it's got all different color stones, because we are all different sizes, shapes, and colors. And you can shake it. And it's, Justin, can you bring me my life is half full necklace, please, honey? It's on the hanger. It's on the hanger in my closet where all my jewelry is. But it's a beautiful piece, and I should have wore that. But I mean, this is so fabulous. But I did it in rectangular, then I did it in the oval shape, and it's got all the different sizes and shapes and colors, because we are all different sizes and shapes and colors in the world. And you shake it, and you say the Serenity Prayer. It's for joy, it's for challenges, it's for accomplishments, it's for overcoming something. And I have given away so many, and there was a cult following, because the first time I went on air with Jane Tracy, it wasn't selling. And the jewelry buyer said to me, you need to tell the story. And I said, I can't. She goes, Renee, you need to tell the story. And I told the story of Doug dying and how I was devastated. But this life is half full. Nothing's ever half empty. And just take it and shake it and say the Serenity Prayer. I mean, I lived saying the Serenity Prayer, I think, every couple of hours when I went through this. You know, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference of what I can't and cannot do. And we're all there. And he probably won't be able to find it, but we're all there. And this necklace, definitely, and I had a lot of women say thank you. Breast cancer, anything. We did one, Susan B. Coleman one, which was all pink stones for breast cancer survivors.
Breast cancer, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. You know, if my last question, I thought it would be interesting. What would you tell someone today? Like, basically, what would you tell Renee today if you were starting out? What piece of advice would you share today?
Basically, did you find it, hon?
No, I think you have to just pause for a moment.
It's okay. Okay, it's all right. Thank you.
It's on the website, right?
Yes, it's on the website. Yeah. Believe in yourself. Okay. I had a lot of challenges. I didn't think I was smart enough. I didn't think I was pretty enough. I thought I was fat. I mean, I had, you know, that's an illness, you know, to go through anorexia and bulimic and everything. But believe in yourself. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything. Okay. I don't care who you are. And I really mean this. Venture out. It's a scary world out there. Listen, if you survive the pandemic, this is child's play. Seriously, okay? Because when this Renee, there was no pandemic, you know what I'm saying? And my father said, I love this. He said to me once, good thing you weren't born years ago, you know, when there was, segregation and everything like that. Because he said, you would have never survived. I said, what are you talking about? I said, if I got on that bus and they told me to get in the back of the bus, I would have bought that freaking bus.
There you go.
Okay, seriously.
Yeah. And that's a way to end the show, Renee. Buy the bus. You are an inspiration. Thank you so much. Everybody, please don't forget to pick up Renee's book. It's available on Amazon, and you can go to Renee's website to see all of her, both brands. The book has a section on the website. All of it's there. Let's take a picture because I'm going to post later about it. So 1, 2. There we go. Love it. Have a great weekend, Renee. Thank you for spending the time with me.
We're going to have to get together sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I would love that. I would really love that. Okay. Stay well.
Take care. It's been a pleasure. You too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thank you, Renee, for being here. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so below. Turn on notifications to be reminded of all upcoming shows. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.